That Defense of Marriage Act, which for federal law defined marriage as the union of one man, one woman only, denied all federal benefits to gay couples, that has been ruled unconstitutional.
History at the Supreme Court this week on gay marriage, and now the fight to define marriage moves back to the states and the courts again. Leading the campaigns, our next guest, Brian Brown from the National Organization of Marriage, and Chad Griffin, the president of the Human Rights Campaign, also led the organization that sparked the court challenge to Proposition 8 in California. And Chad, let me begin with you. Congratulations on your victory at the Supreme Court. So what is next for you? Will your organizations try to bring lawsuits challenging the gay marriage bans in more than 30 states? And given what we heard from the court this week, do you expect to succeed?
Look, there is no question this was a historic week for equality in this country, and American values really did win. With the erasing of Proposition 8, same-sex couples in the state of California started getting married on Friday. And now that DOMA has been erased from the books, thanks to that historic decision, those couples across the country who are legally married, their relationships and their families will be recognized as such. At the same time, while we celebrate, we have to acknowledge that there are 37 states in this country that still don't have equality. And our job is to work harder than we've ever fought before to bring equality, full equality, to every single state in this country. And that's exactly what we'll start doing now.
Is that by repealing the bans or challenging them in court?
We'll fight this battle on all fronts, George. We'll fight it at the ballot box where there are opportunities. We'll fight it at the state legislature. And ultimately, this will come back to our federal courts.
And do you think you'll win there?
I have all expectation that we will. Look, 30% of America, thanks to these decisions, now live in states with marriage equality. It's going to be very difficult to deny equal rights to those who live in other states when the next case ultimately reaches the court.
In the meantime, you've got this decision where everyone who's legally married in a state now will get federal benefits if they continue to live in that state. Kind of a gray area if someone legally married, say, in the state of Massachusetts moves to the state of Alabama. There seems to be particular problems with Social Security and veterans benefits. So what is it going to take to make sure that, as I know you would like it to see, every legally married couple in the United States, same sex, gets the federal benefits?
Yeah, absolutely. There is no reason to deny those benefits, those rights and privileges and protections that come with marriage to any family, George, to any family in this country, whether they live in Hope, Arkansas, or in New York City. And so we've got to work, and this administration has been doing a lot already to ensure implementation of this decision. The president said, in his view, a marriage is a marriage. And I hope and expect that very soon, legally married couples, regardless of where they reside, will receive all benefits. Now, there are some issues that Congress might have to address, and there's currently a piece of legislation called the Respect for Marriage Act that fully rescinds the parts that are remaining of the so-called Defense of Marriage Act. And I expect that Congress will move on that and put into place real permanence so that families across this country can have the protections that they deserve under the law.
Finally, Brian Brown is coming up, and I want to get your response to something he said to the New York Times on Saturday. He says they're going to move to roll back legal gay marriage wherever it exists, and went on to give this quote to the New York Times. Ultimately, as Lincoln said, we can't have a country half slave and half free. Your response?
George, look, there's no question. This country has always moved, historically, whether it was women's rights or the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s to today. We have always moved to greater inclusion and treating all of our citizens equally under the law, so that a young person today living in Fresno, California, or Hope, Arkansas, can grow up with those same dreams, hopes, and aspirations as anyone else. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself two questions. Who is harmed by receiving marriage equality coming to this country? I've asked my friends in those marriage states, my straight friends, and I can't find a single couple whose straight marriage has been harmed, but when the gay couple down the street got married. The other question you have to ask yourself is who benefits? Who benefits? It's what Justice Kennedy wrote about. Those kids, thousands upon thousands of kids today who are being raised by same-sex parents. All this does is give them the same rights, protections, and privileges as a straight child being raised by straight parents. So we have to move with great speed and great urgency to ensure that families across this country have equal protection under the law, and we're well on our way. We're not there yet, but we're well on our way.
Chad Griffin, thanks very much. Let's bring in Brian Brown.
Thank you, George.